Hey, I'm DaniSurname, and I went to the YouTube Creator Store opening on Monday. Swoosh, swoosh, ding! YouTube sent out a little email to say that the Creator Store was opening and inviting people who'd previously been to the space to come and see it. So I went with Bryony and Izzy, who are both also YouTubers. I had a really fun day. It was really cool to see the store, and there was free Prosecco and cupcakes, and I was in great company, so overall, it was a lovely experience. I was really excited to see the store, because I think it's really interesting when YouTube collides with the physical offline world, and so I had a lot of thoughts about it, and I also have a lot of good and bad thoughts about it, which is what this video is going to be. But first of all, the way the store looks is really cool. There is a new London YouTube space, which I haven't actually been into yet, but that's where the Creator Store is. It's right next door. The look of the store is very similar to the YouTube space, the previous one that I have seen, in that it's very colourful, but lots of white and grey, exposed industrial piping. It's definitely within Google's aesthetic. It's very sleek, but cool and edgy and millennial at the same time. If that makes any sense. The store is arranged into columns of either one YouTuber or a couple who are all thematically together. There's books, there's clothes, there's makeup, and then there's, bits and pieces, different lines that creators have come out with. What was most interesting was actually to be able to see these things, because usually they're purchased online, obviously. It's nice to be able to see them, to hold them, and to see stuff that you wouldn't necessarily go looking for. For example, Jim Chapman has a line of stationery that I didn't know about, which is really cool and has a really nice design, and I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't seen it in person. They also had a selfie booth that was a lot of fun that me, Izzy and Bryony spent ages trying to actually be able to fit into it because the camera was a lot higher than all of our heads.
We needed to be about 2 feet taller, didn't we? That was the problem.
It's designed for tall people.
It is designed for all of the tall people.
We want to try again.
Yeah.
But we know where we need to stand now. Are you gonna be really meta?
I am. I'm gonna be super meta.
Ready?
Yeah. You could also choose for the booth to print out the images, which is nice because we have a photo board in our living room that me and Bryony are going to put some up, and Izzy took some away for her photo wall as well.
We look so cute.
Now, coming down to the actual stuff in the Creator Store, there was almost only British YouTuber merchandise, which I understand because it's the London Creator Store. It's the only Creator Store that exists, but it's part of the London YouTube space. However, PewDiePie's book was there, and there were a couple of YouTubers who I don't necessarily know what nationality they are, but it was mostly merchandise from the Gleam team. There was Zoella merchandise, Tanya Burr merchandise, Alfie Days, Casper Lee, Joe Sugg, the people within that kind of group. And while they do largely represent British YouTube culture because of how high profile they've become, it was a little bit, to just see them there. There was also Dan and Phil merchandise, which was really cool and would have been a large oversight if they weren't there, if they're, playing on a British YouTuber theme. But it did sort of feel like a lot had been excluded. There were definitely books from YouTubers that weren't there. Tyler Oakley's is one of the biggest YouTube books that have ever come out, regardless of whether he's a British YouTuber. It was kind of weird not to see that there. Miranda Sings didn't have anything in there. It seems like there's a particular group or type of YouTuber they're trying to showcase in the store, and that's a little bit off-putting and doesn't really showcase the wide variety of creators that British YouTubing has to offer. Also, does it need to be stuff that almost entirely showcases British YouTubers? I know it's the London store, but if they're focusing on high-profile YouTubers, why didn't they just go for all of them? It seems very narrowed down and not necessarily clear as to why it is. There also seemed like not an awful lot of stuff there. I guess there's probably a lot of licensing issues to do with what they can and cannot stock. A lot of products were repeated in one place on one shelf and then repeated on another shelf somewhere else, which was not necessarily a stylistic choice. And we did find that after 10 minutes we had seen everything that was in the store. And I know it's new, they haven't had a lot of time to get stuff into it, Again, licensing issues probably plays a huge factor on what they can get at all, but it felt a little bit lacking. I ended up getting 2 things, not necessarily because I really wanted the merchandise, but kind of because I just wanted to participate in the creator store, it being open for the first time. I wanted to be able to say I'd bought something. The bags were pretty cool. There were some white ones and some black ones, which it might be a minor point, but I was a little bit confused as to why they hadn't just stuck to one design. But, as always, minimalistic design, I'm all over it. I got one of Tanya Burr's liquid lipsticks, which I'm actually really enjoying. The consistency is a little bit sticky, but I really like the colour. I also got a Dan and Phil sweatshirt, which is really soft inside. It's a really well-made product. I really like it. The colour grey is really nice and fits with the colours that I'm wearing for autumn. And I am glad that I've got something from the store, because at the end of the day, even though it may not be the best it could be, I am still excited to be participating in this time of a very new form finding its feet in the physical world as well. YouTube is just over 10 years old, and it's really exciting to be part of that newness and to be part of a form that is developing its own conventions, is developing its own genres, and is finding its feet in what it means to create a consumerist culture around the content that's been created. For me, it's very much like 1920s Hollywood. There's a lot of problems and there's a lot of scandals, but it's still exciting and whirlwind, and I want to know where it's going. And I was very excited and feel privileged to have gone to the Creator Store opening at all. I wouldn't have been able to go if I didn't live in London, and I wouldn't have been able to go if I hadn't already been to the YouTube space. So I recognise that I'm in a very lucky position, and I did really enjoy it, and I do think it's a really good thing. They just need to work out the kinks a bit, or just keep going. I hope you found it interesting to see the Creator Store and to hear my thoughts about its flaws and its capabilities, its possibilities, its potential. Tell me what you think about the subject down in the comments below. I'm very interested. I'm a YouTube nerd as well as a YouTuber. I will just talk about it forever. Give me an ego boost, like the video, subscribe. I'll see you again soon.